Good evening and welcome to the 2014 Stanley County Candidates Forum. My name is Kathy Almond, President of the Stanley County Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. I first want to thank all of our partners, including the Stanley County Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank the Stanley News and Press, radio stations WSPC and WZKY, Stanley Community College, the Stanley County Democratic Party, and the Stanley County Republican Party. The goal of this evening's forum is to educate and inform our community members on current issues and to give the candidates an opportunity to articulate their views on those issues. The Chamber believes that informed citizens make better decisions and sound choices on Election Day, which is Tuesday, November the 4th. Some reminders for those of you attending this evening: in respect of our candidates, please silence your cell phones. There are restrooms to the rear of the room, and we ask that you exit and enter through the rear door. Hold your conversations outside of the room, please, with no comments or questions from the floor. Rebroadcasts of tonight's forum will be aired on WSPC 1010 AM, Stanley Community College Local Cable Channel 21, as well as the Community College's YouTube site. The schedules for the broadcast and the links to the YouTube videos will be available online very soon at the Stanley County Chamber of Commerce website and the Stanley Community College website as well. Our moderator this evening is Mr. Alex Rankin of Concord. This is the 5th time Alex has been with us here in Stanley County, and we're always grateful to have him return. Alex is the president of Concord Engineering and Surveying in Concord, and he's the past chairman of the board of the Cabarrus Regional Chamber of Commerce. He's very active in business and community fairs throughout the region, and he has a real talent for moderating these type forums. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Alex Rankin.
Thank you, Kathy. It's a pleasure to be back in Stanley County and have this opportunity to help the citizens of Stanley County look over and select who they want to vote for County Commission. Tonight we're doing Stanley County Commission. We have seated before me, from my left to my right, Mr. Richard Allman, who is running for District 4. That's just the first election, I understand, in Stanley County that has been done for County Commission in districts. Beside him, Mr. Gene McIntyre, also running for District 4. To his right, to our right of Mr. McIntyre, is Mr. Joseph Burleson, who is running for District 3. Beside Mr. Burleson, we had provided a space for Phil Burris, also running for District 3. Mr. Burris is not here tonight, and because of that and the agreements that were made by the parties that are putting this forum on, Mr. Burleson will only be giving an opening statement and a closing statement and will not be responding to questions. So we want to make sure the viewers at home understand that that is why Mr. Burleson will remain silent for a number of the questions that we have for the other candidates. Going on to the right, Ms. Jan Lowder, who is running for County Commission at large, and beside her, DEBRA Morgan, who is also running for County Commission at large. Candidates, I will ask you for a 1.5-minute opening statement, a 1-minute answer to every question that I pose to you, and then a 1.5-minute closing statement. And we'll begin with Mr. Richard Allman. Please give us your 1.5-minute opening statement.
Thank you, Alex. As Alex said, my name is Richard Allman, and I'm running for County Commissioner District 4. I'm a graduate of Albemarle High School. I have an associate's in marketing from Stanley Community College. I'm a lifelong resident of Stanley County. I am married to Mitzi Allman. We have 3 children. Brandon Wallace, who graduated from North Stanley and is a senior at Western Carolina University, graduates this December. My son Rich, who is a freshman at North Stanley High School, and my daughter Emily, who is a 7th grader at North Stanley Middle School. I've been employed at Crook Motor Company for 21 years. For the last 15 years, I've been part owner. I'm an active member at First Lutheran Church here in Albemarle, where I have served on church council and finance committee. I currently sit on the board of directors of the Stanley Regional Medical Center Foundation and Eastside Volunteer Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. Allman. Mr. McIntyre.
Microphone. I'm the old hand up here and I forgot to turn it on. As Alex said, I am Gene McIntyre and I am seeking re-election to County Commission in District 4. First of all, let me say that it has been a privilege and an honor to serve the citizens of Stanley County over the past 16 years. My opening is going to be a little different. I've always said that our education drives economy. And if I am privileged to be reelected, then I pledge that you will get my continued support for all levels of education in Stanley County. Our county's prosperity depends on a strong public education system as well as the ability to educate a workforce. Funding for infrastructure for economic development has been and will continue to be a priority of mine. And as always, I am committed to keeping your tax rate, property tax rate, low. And I would be honored to continue to be your voice in local government, Stanley County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Mr. Burleson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, and fellow candidates. Appreciate you, everyone, putting this on for us. I am Joseph Burleson. I'm running for County Commission District 3, the son of Jerry and Debbie Burleson. Born and raised in Stanley County, grew up in the Indy community outside of Albemarle. Currently a licensed real estate broker in the state of North Carolina and South Carolina. Actively list and sell real estate for a living. Work for my father at Whitley Realty. I'm a member of the Central Carolina Association of Realtors, a member of the North Carolina Association of Realtors, National Association of Realtors. I'm also a small business owner, vice chairman of the Stanley County Planning and Zoning Board currently, on the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce, past board member of the Indy Volunteer Fire Department, member of the West Stanley Business Association, Rotarian with the West Stanley Rotary Club, served on the United Way Allocations Committee, Leadership Stanley Graduate of 2012, and many other boards as well. If elected, I would like to improve the economic development efforts in order to offer jobs in Stanley County. I would like to see the board to be proactive instead of reactive. I would like to take a look at the departments in the county and to see what they are doing or not doing to be business friendly, and make every effort to make every department in the county as business friendly as possible. I would ask for your support on November the 4th, and I will do the best job that I can to serve Stanley County if elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burleson. Ms. Lowder.
Hi, I'm Jan Lowder. I'm married to Gary Lowder, and we have 3 adult children. I have 2 grandsons and 4 granddaughters. I was co-owner of TKG Transport, Inc. until 2006 when I retired early. We were the winner of the Chamber's Small Business of the Year Award in 1995. I was elected to serve on both regional and statewide industry boards. For more than 35 years, I've been a volunteer in civic, nonprofit, school activities, youth summer programs, and I have served on the Albemarle Rotary Club Board, the Stanley County Board of Elections, Stanley Community College Board of Trustees, and I received a unanimous vote of the North Carolina House of Representatives to serve on the State Board of Community College, and I currently serve on its Awards Committee, its Personnel Committee, and its Finance Committee. In June of this year, I was elected to serve as Chairman of Hospice of Stanley County. I bring to you competence, commitment, contribution, compassion, experience, and my connection with people through all walks of life here in Stanley County. I have the qualifications, the experiences, and the leadership abilities to serve you, the citizens of Stanley County. And I offer myself to you to be your Commissioner at Large. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lowder. Ms. Morgan.
Thank you, Alex. Good evening. I am Deborah Morgan, and I'm running as your next County Commissioner at Large. I was born in Albemarle and have lived in Stanley County all of my life. For the past 40 years, I have worked with the people of Stanley County in various capacities, with the last 13 years being employed as a police officer with the City of Albemarle. Protecting you as a citizen is what I enjoy doing. Currently, I work for Stanley Community College as a security officer. Through my life experiences, I understand the needs of our county. That is why I know that I am the people's choice to be your county commissioner at large. Because of my involvement with law enforcement, the fire departments, and with EMS, I would be a strong voice for you because I have seen it firsthand. Throughout my life, I have given well over 100% in every endeavor I have ever done. Whether it be work-related or sports-related, I will do this position well over 100%, which is what I'm used to doing. I will not represent special interests, but my decisions will be made based on the needs of our county and the facts as they are presented to us. A vote for me is a vote for improvement in Stanley County. Thank you for your support and your vote. I am Deborah Morgan.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Candidates, your first question. Do you support or oppose the sales tax referendum that will be on the ballot, and why? Ms. Morgan, we will start with you.
Excuse me. For the sales tax referendum, a lot of people don't understand it, but it is based on an additional sales tax that will be put in place for items purchased here in Stanley County. Although I am not a proponent of tax increases, this tax will go to pay for the new 911 system that our current Board of Commissioners has already obligated us to purchase, as opposed to an increase in property tax, which would be probably our other only alternative. Therefore, I would support the sales tax referendum to pay for the system as opposed to an increase in our property taxes. The system will be a much improved alternative to what we have now, and it will offer a betterment in emergency situations that occur in this county. I will support the referendum only because of these merits.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Ms. Lowder.
1/4 cent sales tax is estimated to yield $1.1 million annually. The revenue will pay the debt on the communication system for public safety, which is your EMS, your law enforcement, and your fire. Revenue above the debt service will be allocated to education, to the public school system and the community college system. It will be for facility, technology programs, and those areas where there is evidence from the system, the school system, the community college, that it's a good investment, for a good return on the investment. My husband and I are voting for the referendum. I believe it's a fair tax at a bare minimum increase, 1/4 of 1 cent. People visiting us through Stanley County or traveling through making purchases are going to pay that tax. I do not want a tax rate on my property tax, a tax increase on my property tax. I support it.
Thank you, Ms. Lowder. As I said earlier, we have to skip over Mr. Burleson and we'll go to Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Alex. When we take our oath as commissioners, in that oath we pledge that we will ensure the health, welfare, and safety of the citizens of the county. And one of the ways we do that is through our budget system to provide the services that are needed. Another way is to make sure that our emergency folks have the equipment they need in order to perform those services and keep us safe and to help us. So yes, I am for the referendum because we voted to do that. But I am conservative and opposed to most tax increases. But it is a fair tax because everybody does pay it, as has been said. Also, it's been said it'll generate about $1.1 million. It takes about 3 cents on the property tax rate to raise that kind of money. I think that we have looked at this for over a year to make sure that we want to do this. So I think it's the fair tax, and it's the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Mr. Allman.
A tax increase of any kind is never popular, but I do believe a quarter-cent sales tax is the most reasonable because it includes everyone. It would tax folks that spend money in our county, residents and non-residents. Folks from neighboring counties that shop here, visitors that come and enjoy the lake, the URs, Mara Mountain, our golf courses, and other attractions that we have here in Stanley County. I just believe it's the fairest way to spread the tax out, and you know, as Gene said, you know, I don't think anybody would like a 3-cent property tax increase.
Thank you, Mr. Allman. Candidates, what do you see as the most important issues facing Stanley County, and what will you do, if elected, about those issues, Mr. Allman?
My first priority is to improve the current economic climate in our county, and I propose to do this 2 ways. First, I think we need to work with existing employers that are already here in our communities and to identify areas of improvement that will allow them to grow their business and improve employment opportunities here in our county. Second, I will work diligently to assess and improve how our county attracts new business. My second priority would be to evaluate the educational opportunities we are offering our children and make the necessary improvements to ensure that our future and our children are bright.
Thank you, Mr. Allman. Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Alex. Jobs in the economy has got to be number one. But when we talk about jobs in the economy, we have to talk about education. As I said in my opening, education drives your economy. It's incumbent on us to have the best public schools we can have. It's incumbent on us to be able to educate a workforce once we have business come. We're probably not looking at the big industry to be here in the near future. So as Richard says, we have got to look at our small business, help them in every way we can if they want to expand, and find ways to help them to continue to support our education and to support infrastructure that will help business. And all of this will help, and we keep our taxes low, and this will help incentivize small businesses to either start up or to look for ways to expand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Ms. Lowder.
I'd say jobs, education, and the budget, and the reason I say 3 is because they are all connected. Commissioners need to work to assist municipalities. They must be willing to support the existing businesses, and they need to explore more ways and better ways for the recruitment of new business. Whenever we can, government needs to assist and not cause delays or set obstacles for those wanting to conduct business here if the businesses are going to contribute in a positive way to be a part of our community. Workforce requirements have and are rapidly changing with technology. We need to support our public school system and our community college to have our students, those unemployed, those wanting to advance in employment, they need to be ready for a good job and a rising standard of living. We must provide these tools for learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lowder. Ms. Morgan.
My priority issues are to improve communications between the county commissioners and the other municipalities in this county. By working together as one, we can meet the needs of many and improve our county. My second priority would be to improve and further develop the education of our workforce. One of the main points that a new business is looking for is the availability of a good, well-educated workforce as a prerequisite of establishing a new location. Through cooperation with our local community college, great strides are and can be made to provide us these opportunities. My third priority would be to continue to support and develop our parks for recreation and outside tourism. We have some of the best kept secrets here in this county and in this state. And in this county, it's Mara Mountain. And I would like to get that secret out. This also would help to draw in outside interests and create revenue for the citizens here in our county.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Candidates, the county budget has been tight lately. What would you do, if elected, to make the most of the budget you have? Ms. Morgan.
As your county commissioner, I will diligently study the current budget that we have. Specifically, I will look for any areas in the budget that will be more effective and efficient, but also be extremely frugal with the application of our programs and use of our taxpayers' dollars. A budget the size of Stanley County creates a lot of different areas, and I want to feel confident that we are meeting these areas effectively and efficiently. As I have stated in my platform, I would like to attract new businesses to the county, which will broaden the tax base, therefore controlling the need to raise taxes for the citizens, yet creating more revenue for the county to fund the programs that we need. The budget is a very sensitive yet complex issue, but I will do my very best to evaluate it and to meet the needs of our citizens.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Ms. Lowder.
The county budget for the current year is $56,178,304. There are 45 departments for the general fund. There are 5 enterprise funds. 87% or $48.9 million is mandated for public safety, health and human services, and education. It is a major responsibility of the Board of Commissioners to study and understand the preparation of a budget. It is important to understand that there are not only mandated expenses, but also some recurring expenses. Those things have to be reevaluated to see if they in fact are offering a good return on the investment. As a taxpayer, my concern is that needed services are provided for our families. As a taxpayer, my concern is that commissioners make the decisions to apply good business practices to maintain a balanced budget without raising property taxes, and make the difficult decisions to cut expenses where needed. They must be good stewards of our taxpayers' dollars, and that's my pledge to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lowder. Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Alex. Over the past 16 years, I think I have worked really hard to be a good steward of your tax dollars. The past 7 years, there has not been a property tax rate increase. We have built a fund balance of between 20 and 25%, which is really good. And you wonder why would you have to have that much fund balance? You always want to be prepared for a disaster. We have done some good things with our fund balance just over the past couple of years. The Greater Baden Water District is a terrible water district, and we have sought funding and grants to rehabilitate that whole system. They have water literally running through the ground without a pipe because the old terracotta pipe is gone. So we've done a lot of good things even in a tight budget. When the state cut education 5%, we only had to cut ours by 2%, and we got along fine. And you know, in a down economy, everybody tightens their belt, and you have to just keep doing with less money. So I don't think we can improve much on our budget the way we're working right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. And Mr. Allman.
As an elected representative of the community, we must strive to work closely with all government entities and civic organizations to create and maintain open lines of communications. Through better communications and improved cooperation, we can best utilize our limited resources and for the betterment of our community. As a commissioner, I would work closely with the county staff to understand and see where our tax dollars are spent.
Thank you, Mr. Allman. Candidates, you have done very well with your very thoughtful answers. Now we will have a minute-and-a-half closing statement from each of you, including Mr. Burleson. This is your opportunity to speak directly to the voters and tell them why they should vote for you. We'll begin with Mr. Allman.
I want to be your next county commissioner for District 4. As many are, I am concerned about our community. I don't want our children moving away and not returning because of lack of jobs in our community. I have a vested interest right here in this community with my family and my business. I know that my life experiences and business background give me the knowledge, skills, and understanding that will benefit this community. I want to improve our community, and if elected as County Commissioner, I will work to improve Stanley County. I am Richard Allman, and I am asking for your vote for County Commissioner, District 4, November 4th. Thank you for your time.
And thank you, Mr. Allman. Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Alex, and I would like to thank the sponsors for making this event possible tonight, and I want to thank you, the citizens, for your interest in local government. Stanley County has been very good to me. I had a career here of 30-plus years in the education system. I'm a lifelong citizen of Stanley County. I've raised a family here. In 1998, I said that I would like to give something back to Stanley County. And being your #1 public servant and serving on the county commission has allowed me to do just that. And I want you to know that it's been very rewarding for me. And given the opportunity, I promise that I will continue strong leadership for the smart management of your tax dollars. Early vote starts on the 23rd of October. General elections on November 4th. Again, I'm G. McIntyre, and I'm asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Mr. Burleson.
Thank you, Alex. I want to say thanks to everyone for attending. Stanley County Chamber of Commerce, Matt Smith and the radio station, Stanley News and Press, thank you for everything that you've done to put this together. If elected to Stanley County Board of Commissioners, I will do everything that I can to put Stanley County in a movement forward. I am looking at this from a young folks perspective. I have graduated high school and now in the business world, and a lot of my friends that I grew up with are not in Stanley County. They have had to move off to find jobs. I want to do something so those folks at one day they can move back to Stanley County to raise their family. I would like to see a lot of economic development and job opportunities here in Stanley County. I haven't had a chance to speak a lot tonight. If you would like to talk to me one-on-one, I'll be more than happy to talk to you and try to answer some questions that you may have about me. Remember, on November 4th, vote Joseph Burleson for Stanley County Commission, District 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burleson. Ms. Lowder.
Thank you. My commitment to you, the citizens of Stanley County, is that I will work with our municipalities, our businesses, and I will work to recruit new business. I will work to support our public school system and our community college system. I will work to preserve our natural resources. I will work for our farming community, for they contribute a vital role for all of us. I will work to ensure and enhance for future generations the quality of life that we so enjoy and value. I humbly ask that you vote for me, Jan Lowder, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Lowder. And Ms. Morgan.
This position is very important to us as Stanley County residents. I will uphold and represent this office in a positive manner at all times and will be a good ambassador for Stanley County in this capacity at all times. As I continue to talk with residents in our county, my platform is based on 3 objectives. Number 1, establish better communication and cooperation between the municipalities and the county commissioners. Number 2, to prepare and educate the citizens of our county in order to have an attractive workforce, which in turn will attract business opportunities, thus creating jobs. And number 3, continue to support and develop our parks and recreation areas in order to pull in outside interest, thus producing revenue for our county. Again, thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for your support and your vote. And I am Deborah Morgan, and I know that I'm the people's choice to be your next county commissioner at charge.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan, and thank you all of you candidates for your professional demeanor and your thoughtful answers. I'm sure the voters will find the information that you provided tonight useful in making their decisions as they go to make these important decisions on November 4th. On behalf of the sponsors of this forum, I'm Alex Rankin. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and I encourage the voters listening to this broadcast to get out and vote on November 4th. Good night. Good evening. Welcome to the Stanley County Candidates Forum for 2014. This is an opportunity for the voters in Stanley County to get to know the candidates for the various positions. This session, we're focusing on school board. We have running for at-large Todd Swearingen and Vicky Watson, and running for District 1, Melvin Poole and Sherry Vaughan. Our format will be an opening statement of 1.5 minutes and then a series of questions. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer the questions, and then a closing statement of 1.5 minutes. So with that, we will begin our forum for school board for Stanley County, and I'd ask Mr. Todd Swearingen if he would start with his opening statement.
Thank you, Alex. As Alex said, I'm Todd Swearingen. I was appointed last December to complete the term for District 7 on the Board of Education. I'm going to say this next part quickly. My wife and I graduated from South Stanley just over 20 years ago. We then both went on to attend UNC Wilmington, graduated from there, and we came back home. I'm a partner in a local CPA firm. We have offices in Albemarle and in Locust. Sherry, my wife, she's a school nurse serving the southern schools, South Stanley, High and Middle, and then Aquadale and Norwood. And I have 3 wonderful children. They're all dressed in orange back there. Joby, he's a 5th grader at Aquadale. Miley, she's my 3rd grader at Aquadale. And then Averly, she's 3 years old, and she's already practicing for her school time, doing homework each night with the other kids. With that said, our county and our schools have a direct and immediate impact on my family. We look forward to every opportunity. We treasure every opportunity we have to serve our community in whatever capacity that the community welcomes that. As I said, I'm a CPA, and good, bad, or indifferent, I work with numbers every single day. And recently, as many of you are aware, all of our school districts have been dealt budget cuts after budget cuts. That has obviously put a strain on the budget process and the decisions that they have to make, and tougher decisions are having to be made each and every year. And during this time of financial uncertainty, I think that my business and accounting experience would serve the board well, and I'm asking for your support for the at-large seat on Stanley County Board of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Swearingen. Ms. Watson.
Okay. I am Vicky Watson. I am running for the election of at-large seat. My husband and I, Ronnie, live in Richfield. We have a son, Sean, a daughter, Shay, and a granddaughter, Sailor. We also have a business by the name of Party Tables. It's a family business. And we attend Kendall's Baptist Church. I am a member of the Stanley County Chamber. I have been a youth leader for over 30 years. And I've been on the school board 8 years. I was employed by Stanley County Schools for over 16 years and loved every minute of it with those children. You just have to hug on them and love them. And every minute you were there, you love it because they're children and they're looking to you for advice. They're looking for you to help them learn. They're looking for you to love them. I think, you know, to say this with all that in my background, I think, you know, needless to say, children are a passion of mine. And I think with this board, we need to look at things that are going on, what's going on in other places. We need to, what do I want to say? I think we just need to look at things here in Stanley County as far as what's best for our children, not what we want as an agenda ourselves, but what we need for our children in Stanley County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Mr. Poole.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone coming tonight. I'm Melvin Poole. Live in the Red Cross community. Been married to for 42 years to Kay Poole, who taught for 32 years in the Stanley County system. Both of my sons graduated from Stanley County schools. They've both been in the classroom teaching. I went to Emmanuel Junior College, graduated with honors, finished up at the University of Charlotte, North Carolina. And after that, I went to Pfeiffer and did my student teaching block, and so I've spent a little time in the classroom too. Say all that to convey the point that I've been wrapped in education pretty much my whole life. I grew up with a dad who graduated from the 6th grade, a mother who graduated from the 7th, and they both saw the need for public education, and I believe strongly in public education. I served 20 plus years in the military, retired out with the rank of major, and my last 3 of my last 4 years in service, I was teaching officer advanced courses, which is the equivalent of undergraduate and graduate level courses in the civilian side of the house. So I feel like I've got plenty of qualifications. I've been here 18 years, and I know that's probably longer than some people like, but some people are happy with the fact I've been here that long. But out of that 18 years, I have been engaged in every regular scheduled meeting. No one else on the board the whole time I've been there can say that. And one of my meetings, I engaged over the phone from my hospital bed when I had almost 2 broke legs. So I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Ms. Vaughan.
Hi, I'm Sherry Honeycutt Vaughn, and I'm running for Stanley County School Board, District 1. And while I represent District 1, everyone in the county can vote for District 1. And I will provide representation for all the Stanley County schools, students, educators, and families. I was born and reared in the Ridgecrest community of Stanley County, and after living away for 10 years, I moved back in 1995. I'm currently employed by Carolina's healthcare system at Levine's Cancer Institute. My parents and brothers are the Honeycutts of Locust Pump and Well Drilling in Locust. Married to Eric Vaughn. We have a son that's a sophomore at West Stanley. His name is Clay. And during the time our son has been in the public school system, I've served in the capacity of PTO member, PTO president, Booster Club member, Parent Advisory Committee member. I've served on the school improvement team. And I haven't been to as many meetings as Mr. Poole, but I've been to probably 95% of them the last 6 to 7 years. I've become a recognized speaker at the meetings, and more importantly, an advocate for our students and educators. My numerous years of service, along with my vested interest as a parent and a taxpayer, have driven my desire to serve in a higher capacity as a member of the Stanley County Board of Education.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughan. Candidates, there has been some talk of redistricting lately. Can you share some thoughts on the advantages and disadvantages of redistricting? Ms. Vaughan, we'll start with you.
Yes. In 2012, the current school board at that time voted to have a redistricting study done. This is the study itself. The study was for that time period up to the following 10 years through 2022. It was done for the declining enrollment and the declining resources. They came back and proposed 6 different scenarios, anything from closing no schools to closing a school to redistricting, 6 different options. Of those 6 options, it was never discussed. Nothing was ever done with it, but we as taxpayers paid roughly $13,000 for it. So I think as a taxpayer, we owe it to the taxpayers to at least take a look at it and see where we are with things today. It dealt with the geographical and the growth in some areas and others and not. We have underpopulation in some schools, we have overpopulation in others, and some were just right at the border. So I do think it's worthwhile to take a look at it. In doing so, I think it also creates equity across the board, which we currently don't have. So again, just because of the money that was spent, creating the equity, and just for the betterment of our kids, I think we owe it to everybody involved.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Mr. Poole.
Obviously, redistricting is a subject that stirs a lot of passions, and I've been through several redistricting situations. We have been redistricting. When we changed configurations of our structure, we redistricted, and it's painful for communities. It rips communities apart, and when you sit here at this board and have to make decisions on that thing, it rips your heart out. As far as the study, I'll tell you a little secret about some of these studies. The people come and ask you what you want them to tell you, and then they tell you what you want them to tell you, basically. But to say the board has not looked at the studies is incorrect. We have looked at the studies, and none of the board members that served on the board were enthused about any of the options that were seen there. And you know, so what do? You spend more money on just because somebody wants to do something. You know, we had 15 people stood up and said we want to go to a certain configuration in our end of the county, and we've ended up spending over $250,000 dragging modulars to a site and closing down a brick and mortar building. And we spent over $200,000 refurbing a school we closed down here in Albemarle. You know, when you jump up and just we got to do something, I think you get yourself in a lot of hot water, and I think that's where my 18 years of experience can help a board stay on track as far as not chasing rabbits out to the side and getting in the weeds, so to speak. There's no easy answers in redistricting, and usually it's winners and losers, and someone always loses, and that's not good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Ms. Watson.
Yes, sir. I think most of our parents in our community in Stanley County, in every area of our county, parents have built their houses or bought their houses in the communities that they would like their children to go to. I think sometimes, you know, redistricting might be a little bit of help, but I'm with Mr. Poole. You know, you stir up a lot of worms when you do that. If you were sitting up here and saying, my child is going to wherever, and they don't like it, but my child wants to go here, I'm beginning to think, why don't we let them go where they want to go? Then we know what kind of schools we're going to have to close. I'm very much a community person. I'm very involved in my community, and I think each community in a rural district like we are needs a school in every community, because when you take that school out of that community actually more or less dies. If you leave a school in there, then the school, you know, is going to make things better. It's going to make the community alive, and I just feel like, you know, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Mr. Swearingen.
Thank you, Alex. I was on a mission trip, my annual mission trip this summer. We go down and work on building a church, and had a conversation with a parent that was impacted by the last redistricting process that happened in Stanley County. And his comment to me was, what the board did was absolutely the right thing. I didn't like it. It was the right thing, but I didn't like it. People want government to run like a business until it impacts them. Then they want it to run like a government. Redistricting has a negative connotation associated with it. But the reality is, the motivation behind redistricting is an equitable allocation of resources. Every one of our kids in Stanley County schools is important. Every one of our kids deserves equal opportunity to learn and be successful. And we should allocate those resources as equitably as we can so that those successes are realized. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swearingen. Candidates, an idea that has come up recently is turning the former Ridgecrest School into an agricultural magnet school. What are your thoughts on how well the Stanley County schools currently address agricultural education? Mr. Swearingen.
This topic did not exist 11 months ago when I was appointed, but it's gained some traction recently. We have some interested parties, stakeholders in that area of the county and Ridgecrest that has been asking for us to look at an agricultural K-8. The important thing to keep in mind is we can't look at this question in a vacuum. In fact, none of these questions can we look at in a vacuum. Each of them impacts the others. If we open up an agricultural K-8, that's going to pull students from somewhere. So then what do you say about redistricting at that point as capacity numbers in other buildings have been impacted? Those students just don't show up from other places outside of our county. They show up from our county schools. So we have to look at redistricting in the same conversation. I would say that I am 100% in favor of academic programs that spark the motivation or the interest of our students to learn. In pursuing that, we should remain mindful of our resources. We don't have an endless budget. Any improvement that we make must be made with the budget in mind, and what give or what we take from one end, we're going to have to give up in another. We're going to have to find some efficiencies to realize on the other side. So we can't really look at this in just this subject matter, agricultural magnet. It's a good idea, but other things are impacted by it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swearingen. Ms. Watson.
Yes, sir. I think the reopening of Ridgecrest School would be one of the best things we could do for our county. This county is basically agriculture right now. We don't have any other industry here very much, and I think this would be something good for our system. We had 942, if I'm right, parents that are really interested in this concept. So therefore, if we're going to look at 15 over here doing this, then we need to look at 942 parents that are really interested in having this in their area of the county. As far as other children coming from other counties, I think we probably would have some. I think we probably would have some other parents interested in their children coming to here for that very same concept. So I'm very in favor of that. I know, like Mr. Swearingen is saying, don't have a lot of money, but you know, there's some things that we can pull from that we can do without for a while and start something like this to get things going with our county. And just like the Albemarle thing, I want them to know that I'm very interested in what they want. I want us to take Albemarle back to where it used to be, and that's got to be a lot of work for us. So, you know, we've got it cut out for us, but this with the agriculture school, I think would be very, very good for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Mr. Poole.
This idea came up after Ridgecrest closed, and a group of community asked about doing a charter, and they met with me, and I suggested that we look at a magnet school rather than a charter so the students could remain within the public system. A school in Kansas got down to 70 students, and they closed it down. A former superintendent there turned it into agricultural charter school, and they've got over 200 now, and parents are driving 30 miles. The whole point of this is that we as a public education system have to start flexing to the desires of the consuming public for their education of their children, or they're going to find somewhere else to educate their children. We had a little over a year ago, we had roughly 1,200 students in this county. They haven't left the county, they have left our public education system. They're either in the private schools, they're being homeschooled, or they're in charter school. And these people that want to close schools, every time you close a school, you open up a possibility for someone securing that building as a charter school. And the law has already been played out in the courts on that. If they want it, they'll get the public building. And then you'll really see your system go fluid. So we need to keep every school open. and we need to do things that's going to keep people interested in staying with us. Agriculture is the only business this county has left in it. And we do have a thriving program at North Stanley I'm extremely proud of. Mr. Blake, the teacher up there, does an excellent job. We do have some at West. I think at South it got replaced by the carpenter trades, but she says stop, so that's what I'm going to do.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Ms. Vaughn.
I've attended some of the meetings that Curtis Furr and his group have held, and the first time they presented it to me, I thought it was a great concept, and I still do, the way it was originally presented. But in order to do that, you know, we're going to have funding from other places, which they have already looked into, some other, some businesses, individuals for grants. But as a Stanley County school system, we cannot fund it. Talking with Dr. Griffin and Bill Josie, estimate $1 to $2 billion just reopening Ridgecrest, and most of it's technology and wiring. Anything that's been taken out of school pretty much has been taken out of it at this point. But I think it's a great concept. I don't agree in making it a charter school. A charter school is only going to hurt our public school system, which I am definitely against. Another thing, and not taken away from the Ag Center, but in addition to, and some of our other facilities that are sitting empty, there's a facility sitting up on Highway 601, which is the Mary Frances Wall. They have taken the old A.T. Allen School and they have turned it into a pre-K or a kindergarten for 3 to 5 year olds. And this houses kids for the educators, kids and grandchildren of people in the Cabarrus County school system. They pay $100 a week for daycare. Initially, the school system helped fund this. They paid $100,000 to get it up and running, but after 5 years, they're pretty much sustaining themselves up there. I've got all the figures on it too. Just another idea of something that we could do with our empty buildings here in Stanley County.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Candidates, do you think improvements can be made in the current school system budget, and if so, what? Ms. Vaughn.
Yes, and what? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I do know, you know, without being privy to all the information, not having served on the board and being in some of those meetings. You know, that's where me as a new person to the board would rely heavily on someone like TODD SWARINGEN, and I think that's why it's, you know, important to have people with those financial backgrounds on the board, because that wouldn't be me. But anyway, I do think it's important that the school system work closely with the county commissioners, because some people don't know or don't realize that a lot of the funding comes from our county commissioners. And I know in the past that sometimes they've been reluctant to give us money because they didn't feel we were being good stewards of the money that they were already giving us or what we had to spend. So I think, you know, it's very key to have, again, a unified school board to work with a unified county commissioners to do the best that we can for our kids and to serve them best. If you've got a good school system, you're going to draw families, you're going to draw new businesses to our county, and we desperately need that. You know, we've just not been able to provide that here in the past.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Mr. Poole.
I think I want to hire her for my campaign manager. She just made a plea for you to keep this 18 years of experience here. I've served as finance chairman several years. I've served as chairman of the board. I've served as vice chair, and I've dealt and wrangled through a bunch of tough budgets, and it's tough. But we get the bulk of our money from the state. Second largest funder is the county commissioners, and then we get a slice, a small slice from the federal government. For every penny they put in, they get $1 worth of control, though. Trust me on that. The ironic thing about this is we sit here and say we don't have money to do this, don't have money to do that. We didn't have money to do the last things we did either, but they got done. And it's almost like it depends on what people's agenda. If they got an agenda, then they'll find the money to do it. And it's sad to say that's not necessarily the best way to do business, but it's a matter of what the community puts its mind to. We can fund what the community puts its mind to. And I've always told people, you know, I'll give you whatever school system you're willing to pay for. And that's what most people in government will do. They'll give you what you're willing to pay for. And, you know, as long as nobody's screaming about taxes, you know, I've been here on the board in the lean times and the good times. And sometimes in the good times you get a little careless with the money. And some, you know, and then the lean time set in, and then you start struggling to make up. We've had a lot of expenses, and I could just go down the list that started taking place, and I was protesting against it. I said, folks, the budget's getting tighter. And it's like I was talking to the wall, and we continued to spend money, and the budget got tighter and tighter and tighter. So it's incumbent upon us to use our money wisely, and it's not other people's fault when we don't. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Ms. Watson.
Yes, sir. I think one thing, we don't have a lot of money, that's right. And as far as anything going on in our county, we have started a foundation, Stanley County Schools Foundation. This is something that I would like to see get really out into our community. This is something that eventually when we first started, we had a $50,000 anonymous gift to the school system. I was on that board to help organize all of that. And I think if we could really get this out in our community so that people will know what it's really about, what we're looking to do for our school system, I think this would be something really good for us. You know, there's in some other counties that I've researched, there's a lot of estates that give monies to their school system. Anything like that, any organization, any individual, anything could give to this, and then when we take that, that will be used in our school system with our teachers. In fact, this year, I think they're going to give out, is it $2,000 that we're giving to our teachers? But it's a grant, and they have to work for that, or not work for that, but they have to apply for that. So it will go out into our schools and help things within our system.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Mr. Swearingen.
Thank you, Alex. What we must realize is that our budget for our school system is a balanced budget, and we do not carry forward a fund balance. We don't have money in our coffers the next year for the previous year that we did not spend in order to start up new programs. Our budget is spent every year, and so when we want to do new projects, we have to find efficiencies elsewhere that can be realized and harvested and spent on those new programs. The reality is our school system's been blessed over a number of years to have a good number of small community schools. That's an inefficiency. That's one that we've been blessed with, and it has worked wonderfully, but it has a cost, and we've got to decide if we're willing to accept that cost moving forward, or if we'd like to change things such as that to realize the monetary savings and put it into new programming. Again, we don't live in a vacuum. These questions can't be accepted in a vacuum. If you look at redistricting, if you look at an agricultural magnet school, and you look at the budget, all three of those things go together. We've got to, if you want new programs, we've got to save some money somewhere and realize the inefficiencies, close them up, and find those monies and spend them how you want us to. So it's tough decisions. We just got to determine what our core values are going to be moving forward and apply those to the budget process.
Thank you, Mr. Swearingen. Ms. Watson.
I am for the closing?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. Thank you, candidates, for all your answers to the questions. They were considered and thoughtful. You've done yourselves well, better than the moderator. So at this point, now you do your closing statement, which in my mind is your direct appeal to the voters for why they should vote for you, particularly for this position for school board. And we will start with Mr. Swearingen.
You sure you want to start with me? We'll roll with it. I do appreciate today's forum and this platform that's been provided so that you, the taxpayers, could come out and hopefully hear what messages we have to offer. I want to impress on each of you that I believe Stanley County is a community. Last week, during the tragic events at Albemarle High School, I understand some of the news reporters commented how closely knit our community was. They weren't talking about Albemarle. They weren't talking about the county office. They weren't talking about Park Ridge. In my mind, they were talking about Stanley County. And each of us that serve on this board and each of our stakeholders in the community need to embrace the idea that we in Stanley County are a community. If elected, I commit to approach every decision with the best interest of your students and our community as my #1 responsibility. I'd like to remind you of my business and my business experience and my loud family in the back. I think each of these have prepared me to be a valuable and vested member of your Board of Education, and I'd appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. Swearingen. Ms. Watson.
In closing, I would like to say that with all my years of experience with children and young people, I think I have the qualities of being the candidate of your choice. I would really like to say this. I think there's a lot of concept out there that our schools are not, we're not perfect, no. But there's a lot of concept out there that we're not good, and that's not true. Dr. Griffin, Dr. Carter, Bill Josie, everybody in the county office have worked really hard to get us where we are. We have a lot of new things in our high schools, and I think people need to visit if that's what you know, if that is the way you're going to find it out. Visit those schools. They'll let you in. They have worked really, really hard, and I appreciate everything they have done. I think children, to me, are very important. I represent every child in this county, not just where I live, but every child in this county. And I think, you know, we need to really see what's going on in our schools. If you walk in those schools, you will be amazed at what's going on. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful. So that's it. And one last thing I want to say is praise to a child is like water to a thirsty plant. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Mr. Poole.
I think the case has been made by my opponent tonight that I should remain on the board because I'm experienced, and I appreciate that very much. I will correct one thing. I can testify to the fact she's been here for about the last 15 or 16 months, about as regular as I have, but I don't know where she got the 6 years from because I've been pretty aware of who's in the audience. She and I obviously don't see eye to eye on everything, but we've had a good fun run with it, I think. Appreciate very much the opportunity to serve. I said I've been married 42 years. My wife will tell you I've been married to the military 20 plus, and I've been married to the school board the other 18, and she sort of gets the crumbs around the edges, and I thank her so much for being willing to put up with that over the years. And you know, you don't have to agree with me on everything. You know, I've been here 18 years. You know where all the warts are, but you won't find anyone anywhere any more committed to this cause and any more passionate about doing what's right, not only by the students and the teachers but the taxpayers. That's who we continually go to. And I have tried to do one thing over the time I've been here is keep the trust of the taxpayers. If we say we're going to do something like when we passed the bond, and I happen to chair the board when we passed the only bond we passed in 30 years, we should honor what we said in the bond, and we didn't do that. And I'm afraid by doing what we've done, we won't pass another one for another 30 or 40 years, and that's regrettable. It's important to keep the trust of the people, and whether you like me or not, that's beside the point. You know, you can believe what's coming out of my mouth, that it's coming from my heart, and I don't think you'll find anybody more committed. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Ms. Vaughan.
Okay, I have been here well before the West Stanley Middle School became into existence, because I was part of that group that got that off the ground. So it's been more than a few months because they're going in their 4th year now. I was asked by a friend of mine several months ago. He approached me and he said, you know, I never took you as a politician. What made you decide you want to be on the school board? And it really took me back because I thought, you know, I don't see being on the school board as being a politician. This is a job to me. This is a job that we should take very seriously. That we're here to do the best thing we can for the kids of this county, not only our kids, but also our educators. We're here to make this the best school system that we possibly can here for Stanley County. And I can assure you, a vote for me comes with no hidden agendas. You know, I'm not going to go out in the community and plant seeds of something that, you know, might happen. We're here to be upfront with people. You know, not discuss things that might be part of yours and someone else's agenda. I can promise you that I have a desire to make this school system a leader as all county public schools. November 4th, I ask that you vote for me for your District 1 representative. This seat will be voted on again by everyone in the county, not just District 1. And a vote for Sherry County Vaughan is a vote for unified Stanley County School Board to change our school system needs, the voice that our respect that our students and educators deserve. Vote Sherry County Vaughan on November 4th.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn, and thank you, all you candidates. I think that the voters realize that serving requires quite a bit of dedication to the job and time away from your families. What a lot of people don't realize is that just being a candidate requires an extensive amount of time away from your family and extensive commitment. So my hat is off to each of you. I wish all of you the best luck on November 4th. To our citizens in Stanley County, I encourage you to get out and vote November 4th. Our government is one that runs best when we have good people willing to serve and good people willing to go vote and select the ones that they think will lead in the direction they want to. So my hat's off to you and to the voters of Stanley County. I'm Alex Rankin, and at this time I'm going to turn it back over to the President and CEO of the Stanley County Chamber of Commerce, Kathy Almond, for a few closing remarks on the supporters and sponsors of this forum.
Thank you, Alex. I just would like to again thank Stanley County Chamber of Commerce support, Stanley News and Press, radio stations WSPC, WZKY, Stanley Community College, the Stanley County Democratic Party, and the Stanley County Republican Party. And I thank you, the citizens, for being here tonight, and all of you as candidates for running for office. We appreciate you being with us. This closes out this segment, and we'll take a break and return. Thank you very much.